today what we're going to discuss is one of the common faults that I see with driving, okay? So driver is it can be one of the hardest clubs to hit in the golf bag if you don't really have the right mechanics, okay? It's like any other club. So what I'm going to discuss today is trying and use a checklist when you're moving the club back on the first part of the downswing, which affects obviously the original shape of the swing or the overall shape of the swing. So think about the first thing I see is the position of the club face. So the club face is open relative to our body alignment, okay, and the lead wrist gets in a cup position. So think about the lead wrist when it gets to the top of the backswing. It is a very weak position which affects the club face aim. So we'll do this nice and briefly. So the first thing that I'll say, let's get a couple of canes here. So if I was to set up my ball to target line, so I was going to, let's say, target straight ahead, and this is my club path, right? So my club path is tracking along this line as well. So ideally, the club path should go slightly inside that ball to target line. So the first fault that I see is when people get to the top of the backswing, okay, their first reaction is to, the club starts on the target line. So the first move on the backswing is they drag the handle too far on the inside, okay? So what that does is if I drag the handle on the inside, I've done this in previous videos where if I drag the handle inside, so think about the club head as moving inside the hands, and what that does to the butt end of the club is it moves the butt end of the club out the way, okay? And what that does to the club face is, so that's in a square position, so if I was to swing back to parallel position and the toes point to the sky, that's in a square position, okay? But what that does is if I roll the club face, so I'm rolling the club head inside, the butt end moves out, that moves the toe of the club slightly skyward, okay, so the club face is pointing slightly skyward, which is in a slightly open position, okay, and what that does to the lead wrist is, so if that's in a neutral position, so if I was getting the toe to the sky, then the lead wrist is in a flat position because the glove's pointing away from it, okay, but what happens is if I roll this club face open, then what that does to the club face is it gets the lead wrist in a cup position, which is going to feel like I've got a lot of tension in this left arm, okay, it twists the left arm in the way, which is going to make me have a tendency to open the club face at impact and then struggle to release the club, okay? So think about that actually. If I move the left arm in the way, for me to get to the top of the backswing, I have to bend this left arm, okay? So if I bend that left arm, that's going to create a lack of power because we've lost the lever already. So think about this one. If I take the club back and then I drag the handle inside, that opens the club face, right? So a lot of people try and feel like they drag the handle inside to try and hit the golf ball on the up, but it's not necessarily true. You need to think about the takeaway and how that influences the overall shape of the swing. So that opens the club face. So for me, if I was to return the club back into that position, then it's going to go 40, 50 yards, right, okay? So the brain's a wonderful thing. The analogy it uses, right, if you go to the supermarket and let's say it's Christmas time, so everywhere's busy, right? So you see an aisle that's really quiet, so you run up that aisle. If you go to the next aisle and it's really busy, then you're scarping and going to the quiet aisle. So our brain's an amazing thing. If we always react to the consequence of waiting on something, or for example in golf, right? So if you go to the supermarket and you're waiting in a queue for 20 minutes, we'll try and rush to the first checkout that's got nobody on, okay? So our brain's the one thing, we're always adapting to different situations. But if I was to get into a position where the club face is open, okay, then my first reaction is I do two things, right? So if I drag the handle inside, the first thing I need to do is for me to, if I was to swing down on the same path, right, the club face is going to be open, the ball's going to go so far, right? So the first thing I need to do is, in order for me then, I need to swing left visually to try and square the club face up. But that's not always the answer, okay? So if I was to swing over the top, then that's going to get the path going to the left, and I'm going to hold the club face open, butt end goes out. What that does to the lead wrist is it cups the lead wrist position at the top of the backswing, which I've got two faults from here that associate with an open club face at the top of the backswing. I either swing over the top, try and get the club face to close, that's a natural reaction, okay, or I get into the top of the backswing and then I realise I'm in trouble. So what you do is you start slowing this club, the butt end of the club down and speeding the club head up, so the right hand flips over the left hand, which is known as a flip, okay, to try and get the club face to close. So face is in a weak position, so we have to compensate obviously to what the club face is doing. So it takes you back to that analogy going to the supermarket. If you're waiting in a queue, the first reaction is to go to a queue that's not so busy. It's the same with the golf swing. If you're in trouble or you get to the top of the backswing and they realise the club face in the wrong position, then we have to compensate for that. So what to do is, this is one of the favourite drills I use, which is going to get you club face in a better position. So the fault here is the open club face, okay? It's not you've lifted your head, you've not rotated enough. The problem is the club face, okay? So think about, our brain always reacts to what the club face has to do. There's a multitude of errors that people can associate, but the number one factor is if the club face is wrong, we have to compensate. And for us to get the club face back at the correct impact position, we have to compensate if that club face is wrong. So it needs to be correct to start off with. If it's correct to start off with, the body won't have to consequently or try and manipulate the club face to close by flipping this right hand over. If the club face is open the way back, we have to do something to flip it on the way down to square the club face up. So take a cane, stick up the club shaft, okay? So the problem to start off with is this takeaway. So we're rolling the club face open, which is effectively creating this out-in path and which is creating a slice. So if we grip this club or the cane up the left forearm, then if we were to really release this forearm early, so where we create too much forearm rotation, then this butt end is going to go out towards the golf ball. Okay, so the idea here is, in order for us to create any consistency, we have to keep the club head travelling slightly outside. So think about travelling slightly outside, but the butt end, so the butt end stays in, the club head goes out. This is just a natural reaction. So the cane has to go up the left leg. See that position there, how the club's in a good position. If I was to roll that, see the button gets out ahead of the hands, and that's when the club head gets behind the hands. So think about, we're rolling the cane up the left leg, okay, that gets the club face in a better position. See if this left wrist is slightly in a flat position, okay, the club face in a neutral position, toes to the sky. So if we were to do the opposite, if we were to roll that, and what happens from there is the lead wrist gets cupped. I feel a lot of tension in that arm, okay, from there I'm not going to create a lot of power. So my left arm moves slightly in this way, okay. So think about keeping the left forearm, so left shoulder, left forearm and club face in a good connection. We don't want to roll like this. So roll the cane, club face in a neutral position, get to the top, neutral position again. So if I was to roll that and club face to get really open, see how that cane's pointing outside the ball to target line. So think about this cane points slightly inside the ball to target line. So let's hit a couple of shots doing that. So let's get rid of this cane. So what we need to do is feel like we get to the top of the backswing, that lead wrist isn't cupped. So if that's in let's say it's in an open position where this glove is pointing towards the ground, okay, and that's where we're going to create. So think about doing the opposite to that. Think about getting the logo in the glove more towards the sky, which puts the club face in a slightly stronger position. So the idea here is to try and close the club face on the way down. That's our main goal, and that's created by a strong grip. So think about, we're getting in a position where we take the club head out, okay, the butt end almost rolls along the left thigh. Position 1, club face, toe to sky. Get to the top, toes still to the sky. Then as we come down, feel like we're attacking the ball from the inside. We're not flipping, we're not cutting across the ball. So think about the two actions. So let's try this again. More outside this way, okay. Even getting the club head to track out slightly outside that line, but feel like the club face is in a more stronger position. The body will react to what's correct, okay. So if the club face is correct, we don't have to compensate. You've got less chance of injury. So if the club face is square, the body will move efficiently enough. So let's get to the top, club face in a square position, and let's hit this. So butt end has to move out kind of thing, club head. So this way, and then we're coming back in. Can't even see that now, it's too dark. Butt end doesn't drag out this way. We're moving the club head down the hands. The butt end goes along the left thigh. We get to the top, check the club face to square position, come back down to the ball, get to the top, then hit. So that's a drill to work on. Get to the top, lead wrist pointing up to the sky, club face in a good position, come back down to the ball, then a hit. So let's try it again. To the top, square position, back down, then take the takeaway. And then you should be hitting at 300 yards in no time. So any thoughts on that video, post your comments below. Remember, this lead wrist position affects club face aim. If that's wrong, then club face is going to be in an incorrect position, which is going to consequently make us compensate to try and hit golf ball, and which is going to create a lot of errors. So remember, the root of the problem is the grip or the club face. So if the grip's root incorrect, the club face incorrect. It just all feeds back to that one problem. It's not necessarily 5 or 6 problems. It all feeds back to grip. The grip's incorrect, if the club face is incorrect, then it's going to effectively make us compensate the downswing to hit golf ball. So, got any thoughts on that video? Post your comments below. Any other topics you want me to discuss, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel and follow me on social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for listening.